Welcome everyone to this second finance webinar in the and GREET Geo projects. So this is about peer-to-peer finance, invoice trading, crowdfunding, but we will discuss to what extent it's crowdfunding in Central and Eastern Europe. So as I mentioned, this webinar is taking place within the Horizon I3 project, GREET CE, in collaboration with GREET Geo. Just 1 second. Okay, so GREET CE, 2 words. It's a capacity building project. It's called Green Transition in Central and Eastern Europe, and running a little bit later than November 2025. We just got an extension, and it's about building further regional innovation ecosystems. So we are focusing on SMEs, innovative SMEs who have innovative solutions in the green energy transition. And we are 8 organizations in the consortium covering 6 countries: Croatia, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and Slovenia. And now we will have 2 platforms from Slovenia and Hungary, but covering the whole region. How do we get there? We made a survey in GREET CE about the needs of these SMEs. And for instance, crowdfunding was one of the key interests of these SMEs. About 70% wanted to focus on that. Crowdfunding, we discussed about impact crowdfunding, but now we are on another theme. Now we are discussing peer-to-peer finance. We haven't raised this question, but I'm sure that most SMEs would have signaled this one. So this is a webinar series focusing on funding, fundraising, and one of the focus we had is crowdfunding. It's a very innovative way to access to capital. It gives additional publicity and marketing through social media for participating companies. It gives an additional community engagement for common causes. It gives additional partnership and networking opportunities. So a very good publicity. Now we are in another theme, but let me give you a flashback on our first webinar, which was focusing mostly on crowd lending. We had 3 main platforms in this webinar, and actually most of the crowdfunding fund goes via loans and debts. So this is a loan gathered from a crowd of investors. Gives a predictable cash flow, and it's the main thematic focus of these investments are mostly sustainable energy, solar, wind, and infrastructure projects. So there are beyond that equity-based, reward-based, donation-based crowdfunding. We are not discussing this now, but what we are focusing on in this webinar, which is a relatively unknown theme, it's invoice discounting, financing, factoring, or accounts receivable financing. But we have the 2 major platforms in this webinar, which will give you a better overview of this. So once again, a flashback of our last webinar. It was on crowdfunding, impact investments in sustainable energy. It was on the 13th of October, and we had 3 major platforms, NRFIP, GoParity, and Klimja, covering most of European crowdfunding projects and gathering a large number of investors. So you can still check it out. It's on our website. There are the presentations and also the recording available. We will have a future webinar. Let me remind you, date is under discussion, probably the 17th November, but we will have another webinar. It's about waste utilization in energy production and its financial aspects. So, but getting back to today, Our today's topic is peer-to-peer finance, invoice trading, crowdfunding in Central Europe. Let us discuss to what extent it's crowdfunding. We just started with Katja, and Katja is from Slovenia, representing Borza terjatev. And Katja, I give you the floor. Beforehand, I give you the floor. I have to apologize for Mihailo Tudorov. He got very sick today, so he cannot be with us. So we have the two platforms, Borza terjatev and Péntech today. So, Katja, the floor is yours. I will unshare, and you may share your presentation. Thanks for being with us.
So, good morning, everyone. Is the sound okay? Do you hear me? Yes.
Yes,
great.
Very good.
Great. So, as Kristina already told, my name is Katja Hancic-Mlinaric, and today I represent Borza terjatev. Borza terjatev is internationally known as Invoice Exchange. And I will use this term today. It's easier also for a non-Slovene to understand what we do. Also, in this presentation, I will try to be so short and present Invoice Exchange in general, so everybody can understand what we do and how we do it. Thank you very much again for Greet C and Greet Geo to make this event possible and to invite also Invoice Exchange. Invoice Exchange is Slovenia's leading invoice trading and peer-to-peer financing platform. For this occasion, I would like to begin with why we started. Back in 2011, our founding team recognized a critical gap in the market. Many small and medium-sized enterprises, which make up to over 98% of all businesses in Slovenia and Europe, were facing serious cash flow challenges. They had good business, solid clients, delivered products and services, and issued invoices, yet had to wait 60, 90, or even 120 days to get paid. That waiting time limited their ability to pay suppliers, invest in growth, or even continue their operations smoothly. At the same time, companies and individuals were holding large amounts of funds in their bank accounts, where returns were low and opportunities limited. Investors were increasingly looking for new alternative way to invest their monies. So we saw an opportunity to make a real difference and ask ourselves these simple questions. What if SMEs could get paid immediately after issuing an invoice? What if investors could directly finance those invoices and earn stable returns from real economic activity? And that's how Invoice Exchange was born. So it's a digital marketplace where companies sell unpaid invoices for instant liquidity, while investors earn attractive, stable short-term returns. The platform went live in 2015. That was after in-house development and financial support, making the start of invoice trading here in Slovenia. So you can think of Invoice Exchange as a peer-to-peer financial marketplace, connecting companies on one side that need working capital with investors seeking lightweight yet transparent investment product. So how does it work? I will represent now how it works for SMEs, for companies, for small and medium-sized enterprises, and then investors. So before any company can begin using the platform, we conduct a comprehensive onboarding and review process. After a free online registration, we verify company documentation, ownership, the compliance with anti-money laundering, while also setting an approved financing limit based on company credit score. This initial assessment usually takes a few days to a week. Once onboarded, a company can start using the platform. It simply enters invoice details in the user interface and immediately receives a bid. Upon confirmation of the bid, the Invoice Exchange automatically and also manually reviews and confirms the trade. So the entire process for SME is digital, transparent, and usually completed within 24 hours. For SMEs, this means no waiting for payments, no additional debt, no hidden fees, and full control over their cash flow. Now, let us look on the other side, the investors who make this possible. The investor also registers online via our webpage, defines investment settings, trading preferences, maturity, diversification, exposure to credit classes, select the type of trades, or just selects the pre-prepared recommended settings. Then transfers funds to the trading account, and then the system automatically puts their money to work, financing real invoices from verified companies. So each investor owns a fraction of an individual invoice. This is ensuring diversification and reducing risk. So when the buyer settles the invoice, the investor receives the full payment with yield. It's typically Euribor plus 3.5% or even more. That also depends on the investor's preferences. At any time, an investor can log in to view their portfolio and concluded trades and review documentations, the documents for accounting purposes. Investors usually want to know how much what's the maturity of invoices. The average maturity is 60 days. So in 60 days, you get repaid and then again automatically invest to new deals, new invoices. So as you can see, Invoice Exchange creates a balanced, transparent ecosystem where companies gain liquidity, investors stable short-term returns. It's a system where technology connects businesses, capital, and opportunity, and where every transaction directly supports the real economy. Let me now share a real example from our platform. One of our long-term clients is a Slovenian manufacturing company working in the telecommunications sector. It has 50 employees and 8 million euro turnover. They're supplying large retail chains and international buyers. Their invoices have payment terms of around 90 days, which puts continuous pressure on their cash flow, especially during their peak production seasons. Using Invoice Exchange, the company finances invoices immediately after issuing them, gaining access to cash flow within 24 hours. Over the past few years, it has financed more than 4 million euros through our platform, transforming unpaid invoices into immediate working capital. So this allows them to maintain steady and predictable cash flow, pay suppliers and employees on time, accept new orders, expand production, and focus on growth, their business instead of waiting for payment. So let's look at the results so far. Since launching in 2015, Invoice Exchange has facilitated over 660 million in financing for Slovenian SMEs. That's tens of thousands of transactions, hundreds of supported companies, and millions of euros of liquidity flowing directly into the real economy. In 2024 alone, we provided more than 60 million euros in fast online financing, primarily through invoice discounting and short-term loans. Today, our network connects over 900 registered and at time 300 active SMEs and investors, many of whom have been using the platform for years. These figures confirm that invoice trading is no longer just an alternative, a niche. It's a key part of the financial ecosystem, enabling SMEs to grow and investors to diversify. In 2020, we also launched the Invoice Exchange platform in Croatia, named P2P Finance, applying our proven model and technology during one of the most difficult economic years. Since then, P2P Finance has provided nearly 30 million euros in financing to Croatian SMEs and is actively used by more than 60 companies, further demonstrating the scalability of our approach across the region. By now, during this presentation, you probably already got an idea, but let's look closely at who uses our platform. On the SME side, our typical clients are established small and medium-sized enterprises with annual revenues between 3 and 10 million euros. We also serve a growing group of companies in the 20 to 50 million euros range, and our largest clients today generate annual turnovers of 100 to 200 million euros. At the same time, we support smaller, fast-growing businesses with revenue starting from 1 million euros, because access to liquidity is essential in every stage of growth. So these companies operate in different B2B sectors. This, as we had an example, manufacturing, trade, logistics, and different services, have solid buyers and confirmed invoices, and value speed, flexibility, and simplicity in financing. SMEs must be established domestically. Slovenian companies use invoice exchange in Slovenia, and Croatian companies use invoice exchange in Croatia. However, these companies may have buyers in other countries, primarily in the EU. Our investors include companies with surplus liquidity, operating also in various sectors. They just are interested in diversify their portfolio, family offices, institutional investors seeking short-term, low volatility fixed income opportunities, and also professional individual investors, which are investing through the invoice exchange, receivables, and loans fund. Investments range from 50, 100 euros up to several million euros. It really depends on the profile of the specific investor. While SMEs are based locally, our investors come from Slovenia, Croatia, and across Europe, attracted by platform transparency, predictability, and connection to real business activity. So together, these two groups form a balanced and sustainable ecosystem that supports liquidity, growth, and innovation through the region. So let me conclude. Invoice exchange, as you see, bridges the gap between businesses that need working capital and investors seeking yield. It's fast, transparent, and proven, with measurable results. With more than 690 million together of financing of online funding to SMEs, we're proud to have supported hundreds of SMEs and helped build stronger, more resilient alternative finance ecosystem in Central Europe. Looking ahead, we plan to expand to new markets across the region, leveraging our experience, technology, and trusted relationships. As a small and agile company, we can adapt quickly to the market needs, listen to entrepreneurs directly, and develop new services. This is also important with EU support for alternative financing models and regulators increasingly open to innovation. We see significant potential ahead. By reducing administrative barriers and improving the user experience, we aim to make financing even faster, more accessible, and business-friendly. Together with similar platforms as ours, we can strengthen the European economy, significantly reduce the SME financing gap, and support innovation, growth, and sustainability across the region. So this is all from my part. Thank you for your presence and for your attention. If you would like to learn more, explore partnership opportunity, or discuss investment options, please feel free to contact me or our team directly. And I'll be happy to take your questions now.
Thank you very much, Katja, for this very clear, very precise presentation. You enlightened us about invoice exchange and what it means clearly and how it can help businesses to become more liquid, actually accessing to their working capital. I see Tamás has a direct question. Maybe is that only to you? I read it out loud. Okay, so maybe Benjamin can reflect after it upon it if that's relevant. What happens in the case of partial payment by the debtors? What is the range of typical annual returns for investors? What percentage of total amount due is delayed payment by debtors, and what percentage is non-payment by debtors? A lot of questions, Katja. I don't know if you want to reflect upon it immediately, or we can discuss this in the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Tamás, for questions. Very relative questions. The partial payment of the debtors. Well, if you know the term, we use recourse factoring. So the company is obligated and also holds a full responsibility to pay the invoice. If it doesn't, we manage the collateral. We have the collateral established, and we manage the procedures around that. So partial payment. It's not. We finance the whole invoice, and then of course the whole invoice is repaid when the due date comes. And partial repayment maybe can be done if the company has problems, liquidity problems, and maybe just pays this other part later, and then of course the interest rate are calculated. Typical annual returns for investors, as I said, are Euribor plus 3.5%. So this also depends on investor settings. So you can be more risk friendly, and you take deals with lower credit rate. So companies that have a higher potential of a high risk, or you can just select 10 and 9. That's the credit score from 10 to 1, and you can also, this is connected with preferences of the investors, but typically Euribor plus 3.5. So we have around 80% of companies who pay on date or are late within 5 days. Yes, we do. We do plan to expand beyond Slovenia and Croatia, and we're planning that in next 5 years. But the plans are not verified yet, so we do plan to do that. I don't understand the question. What is the minimum and maximum investment possible per deal? Tamás?
It refers to the investment by the individual investor. Let's say Kristina or me can invest.
You want to
from,
invest?
Say,
okay.
10 euro, from 10 euro to 1 million euro. Typically, there is an upper limit of 10,000 euro at crowdfunding platforms, but it may not be the case here because you mentioned that you can be several million euros.
Yes, we have also institutional investors which are prepared to invest more funds. So these are the only investors who pay million or more. And also we have investors, small investors like small companies, which are investing as this. I mean, the lower point is 50,000 euros. You can try. We have new investors, which are small companies. They're not keen on investments, but they want to diversify. They come to us and they start with 25,000. And then they see that it works and they like it, and then they refill their trading account and they invest more funds. So, but I mean, it's best, the investment is best for 50,000 or more.
Thank you. So
bigger
so this
than
is not traditional crowdfunding of small amounts by individual people. It's more like investment
no, it's not.
by companies and institutional investors.
Yes. These are companies. Our usual investors are, of course, companies. On our platform directly, you can register as investor only as a company. You cannot register as individual. We have a special loans and receivables fund, Invoice Exchange Rules loans and receivables fund, which is aimed to private investors, but also professional ones. So there are also amounts larger than a couple of €1,000.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Katja. I suggest that we move on, listen to Benjamin, and we open up
the discussion in the end. Thank you very much. I see more questions. I have their direct contact, so you can contact me directly, or we can discuss at the end, right?
Absolutely. We have a Q&A session. Okay. Thank you, Katja. So we continue with Benjamin.
Great. Thank you very much. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. So yeah, thank you everybody, and thank you for inviting me. I'm here in the colors of Péntech, and our brand is actually PastPay. So we did a little bit of rebranding to be more compatible on an international level. So basically what we do, we have step by step altered the invoice financing process into a payment method, and this is where we see the future of B2B payments.
Megköszönöm, akár.
Sorry, is there a question or
Attila, please mute yourself.
No,
yes,
okay.
All participants, thank you for muting yourself.
I wasn't on mute. No, there was no question. Please go ahead.
Thank
okay,
you.
no worries. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about how this works in practice. So basically what we see is that the B2B e-commerce market is in a paradigm shift, or generally speaking, the B2B commerce market. We see like a roughly 40% growth in CE. 1/5 of actually in the B2C e-commerce payment is made via a pay later option, and 60% of businesses would prefer to delay their purchases if they would have, or delay the payment of their purchases if they had the option to do so. And all this is fostered by a very, very quickly growing market. And what we see is that we are at the moment in the B2B e-commerce as B2C was like in 10, 15 years ago, or a couple of decades ago. It's a very, very exciting to be in this ecosystem, because payments in the B2B sphere have not really seen any kind of innovation. So there was invoice payment before Christ, trade insurance in the 1900s. Then in the 60s, the credit card came, and basically since then there was no great revolution in this kind of payment sphere. So basically we do it as we always did. We pay via card, we do the bank transfers, or we use a significant amount of cash on the SME side. So these are actually the competitors or the alternatives that we are working to replace. What we enable merchants to do is to offer their buyers a very clear and flexible way to offer up to 90 days of payment terms. And with this, they can increase their B2B revenues, can save on, because the liquidity of the buyer increases. This enables them to purchase more. And this way, at the end of the day, the merchant can sell more. So this is like a win-win situation. Also, all the invoice collection processes and everything can be outsourced to us. Basically, we would be responsible for this. We take over the non-payment risk. So there is, if there is any late payment or non-payment, we take over the risk for that. And what we see in a very strong case is that we support the export or increasing the export amount in the company's sales processes. So we have a complete EU coverage on the buyer side, and we support any kind of buyers that you bring in from the EU. So if you're expanding to a new market, you lack the trust, you lack the local market knowledge, you can basically cover this by outsourcing all these associated risks and involve the funding from us for that. And also, we provide an omni-channel access. So no matter if you're selling purely online or you have offline sales as well, we have kind of a POS solution, and you can have like an omni-channel value proposition to your buyer. It can be very easily introduced, and it's a very straightforward and neat process for the buyer. Basically, it covers 5 steps. So at the point of purchase, be it online or be it offline, the buyer can select a longer payment term. So essentially selecting past pay with, let's say, 90 days of payment terms. The merchant then issues the invoice to the buyer with the longer payment due date. The invoice is transferred then to past pay. So we become the owners of the invoice, so to say. And we receive we pay out the invoice to the merchant immediately. Within 24 hours, and after the due date, so after the 90 days, we receive the invoice amount from the buyer. So this is how the whole circle goes. And we pay out to the merchant actually the 100% of the invoice minus the costs. So it's really like complete outsourcing of any kind of financial risk in this domain. The buyer scoring is completely automatic. So since we are supporting an online journey as well, it happens within a few seconds. So basically you are signing up to have like a past pay account. You immediately get your credit limit. So up to how many thousands or 10,000s of euros you can purchase. And to unlock this kind of credit limit, you only need to do a quick KYC or KYC and KYB process. So if anybody has here a Wise or Revolut account, it is basically the same journey. And we completely check automatic fraud, digital fingerprints, and everything within a few seconds. So this is really a thorough check of the whole process. As already mentioned, we have a complete EU coverage, or almost complete EU coverage. We support 8 currencies, so it's a very diverse and strong use case for all your export and growth needs. And we are working together with top-tier merchants across the EU. Covering 9 countries currently on the seller side. We have very strong use cases on the electronics wholesale side, in the construction industry, or in the fashion industry. I think construction renewables. We are in the solar industry also very strong. It's a very strong use case because construction company can purchase the goods that they will use during their projects. They can basically complete the project, and only after completing the project, invoicing it and receiving the money for it, they have the payment obligation for the materials that they have used. So this frees up a lot of working capital, increases their liquidity, and enables them to take on more projects and grow much faster, and implement these projects without facing this kind of liquidity constraints. You have the same use case in the electronics wholesales as well, for instance, at MediaMarkt. So not many people know it, but they have also a B2B leg where they are a wholesaler of electronic tools. And they are selling it, for instance, to small B2C retailers. And if a B2C retailer has like 90 days to initiate pay the invoice, they have 90 days to sell it on the B2C level, which is a very, very good way of stocking up and maybe even get the bulk discount. We are backed by leading financial institutions, and we are supervised by the Hungarian National Bank. So we are a financial institution with all its perks and difficulties with the national bank. So we are completely compliant and have a lot of obligations regarding this. So this is also why the KYC and KYB components are needed. And we are supported by top tier insurance and financing companies also from across Europe. So Allianz Trade is our global insurance provider, but we're working together from a UK company like Advanced Global Capital, Slovakian, Hungarian, and Austrian asset managers and alternative financing partners. So this is what I wanted to tell you about briefly in a nutshell. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to discuss them. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. So yes, we have plenty of new questions, and probably to both of you, maybe if you want to reflect as well the former questions of Tamás, or is it something similar as Katja has?
I know it's very similar, so I wouldn't want to share that.
Okay.
So if that was Katja was, I think, able to clarify it quite well.
Okay. Question to you directly, that you mentioned strong use in the case of the solar industry for construction companies. Do you see potential synergies with energy project crowdlending platforms that finance project developers?
Yes, absolutely. So there could be like a strong potential. So we are investing in this line of business as well. So payment terms in these kind of projects are also a very important way of increasing liquidity on both sides. So we are very happy to go in and basically bridge these kind of needs and requirements, both on the finance and on the trust side as well.
Thank you. That was one question to Katja as well. How do you see your competitive edge as compared to traditional trade finance, commercial banks providing SME finance? What are the key differentiating factors for SMEs selling their invoices?
Thank you very much also for the second presentation. I will also have a question for the presenter. And for the question, so the difference is faster access to funds. The companies get their money after the first review within 24 hours after confirmation. It's a simple online process. We also are connected with a different database, Slovenian Register of Companies, Dun & Bradstreet database. So it's fintech platform. No need for traditional collateral. Sometimes we do still take a collateral, but not as much as traditional. Or long-term commitment. So once the company is registered on our platform, it just uses it when it needs it. It's not like you're committed. And our platform is supported from different independent investors rather than a single bank. So this creates more more competitive pricing and higher liquidity for businesses. Some businesses which are not bankable are also using our platform. So this is one few competitive edges in comparison to traditional.
Thank you, Katya. Formerly, Alenka had one question. Do you want to pose it, Alenka, or I see you are online? Or if I'm reading it out loud, have you ever considered joining an innovative company in the ownership structure? That's the question.
We did. We also get a recognition from Horizon Europe. In the past, we didn't get a fund, okay, but this is different. We are supported by Slovenian Enterprise Fund and others. So the Innovate company, in what way do you think, Alenka? So
smaller companies ask many times us if because they are like really small one, have a really good idea, very developed one, but they even don't got enough capital to go for bigger calls, you know.
yes,
And they're interested and they welcome if anyone has interest to join them in their ownership structure. Yeah.
You mean, Alenka, equity financing, probably, right?
You know, I'm not an economist, but
okay, I understand. I understand your question, Alenka. Thank you very much. Yes, we are open to different possibilities. So if we see a potential to any innovate company that has more options to help to support our business, what we do, if we have the same values, of course, we're open to discuss also that. Yes, and that also reflects on the other question from Tomasz. What's the ownership structure of our firm? We're owners. Owners are two private individuals, which are, one is really much into the business, so it's cooperating with us a lot, and also Slovenian Enterprise Fund, Risk Capital. So so it's a few different, but one main owner is Janez Klopčar, who is from us from the start. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Katya. Benjamin, maybe also reflect on the same about the ownership structure and also about the investment amounts. Do you?
Sure. Our background is we also have two private individuals behind the company, and the others are international investors. So it's a rather broad range, ranging from Hungary, Slovakia, UK, and also we are backed by the aforementioned refinancing partners. So in total, we have roughly raised 12 million euros. Overall.
I have one question for Benjamin. What's the typical amount? What's the typical trade on your platform? You finance different sectors, and what's the typical amount of one deal?
Yeah, so it depends on the industry, of course, but the big average is 1.9 thousand euros. So It's a relatively small amount, but it's yeah, the high frequency and the returning customers make it yeah, grow quite well. And yeah, the most popular payment term is actually, yeah, these 45 days. So
45, that's pretty fast.
yeah, it's quite fast. So something between 30 to 60 days. I assume it has something to do with the costs as well, what the merchants are pushing.
I see that Hungary has a higher rate, higher penetration in GDP in factoring than Slovenia. Slovenia is really below average. Do you, what's your competitives? Who are your competitives of your platform? Who do you see?
Yeah, the traditional banks. Yeah, traditional banks.
Traditional banks.
But not even factoring. So not really.
Not
even because they what they are financing is the traditional factoring business kind of. So where there is a, I don't know, supplier of big multinational with 90 days payment terms and that they can manage. But if there is like, I don't know, a company like MediaMarkt who is issuing, I don't know, 2,000 invoices, that's very difficult for them to handle with I don't know, 500 small buyers. So that's where the technology advantage comes in handy.
I see. Thank you.
Benjamin, are your typical investors also firms, or you accept also, rather only firms?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Anyone else wanting to shoot our dear speakers with questions?
So Benjamin, you might be then interested in linking you up, or are you interested in assisting Greasy in linking you up with these energy product crowdfunding platforms we've been working together with, based on your feedback that you see a potential synergy? Because then we are happy to do that.
Yeah, it could be interesting. Thank you very much.
Some package solutions for our innovative SMEs could be good.
Great.
Excellent. So we have your contacts. We will be happy to share also beyond our participants today, also via our social media platforms, and yeah, happy to link you with the other impact crowdfunding platforms. So yeah, I think it's a really fruitful discussion. If anyone else wanting to pose
well,
one
of the ideas behind this webinar is also to make this material available on the net thereafter, so not only those people who attend can access this, but also later on more people. As Kristina mentioned at the beginning, in theory, a lot of SMEs are interested. In practice, as we know, they always live from one day to the other and always dealing with the most pressing issue, and usually not dealing with those things which are only required tomorrow. But when tomorrow comes, then that will be the most pressing issue. So thank you for being able for being with us and enabling us to promote the notion of this kind of financing to SMEs.
Yes, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so unless there are more questions today, I think we can close our webinar a little bit earlier, because it was already very broad and we discussed many questions, and I hope everybody has enlightened a little bit about this new opportunity. So we'll get SMEs known about these new options they have on the market, because they are certainly not aware. And yeah, happy to share your contacts, and yeah, keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.